Hey, boys and girls. It's good to see you again. Welcome back. So, we are back at our designing our keepsakes. If you remember, we've already done the decoration. We've done the decorating. You've scratched your names in the back so that we know whose keepsake is whose. And that's the most important thing. When it's time to go pick up your keepsake, you need to really make sure that it is your keepsake. So, not only are you going to be looking on the back for your name, but you're going to turn it over and take a look and make sure that design looks familiar. Now this has already been glazed, so your keepsake will look like that when you pick it up, but you'll be looking for your name on the back and you'll be looking on the front to make sure the design that you have is the one that you did. Now that you have your keepsake, let's talk about glazing. So glazing is really cool. It's actually awesome stuff. You think you're painting, but you're not. It's glazing. So I'm going to bring into the photo here some glazes, and you can see in here a variety of colors. And some glazes will, or some of the keepsakes that we're doing, for example, a pine tree, that pine tree will take just one glaze. So there's no choice of color. It's just a beautiful green is what you're looking for. But their glazes come in many colors, just like paints do, and you apply it just like you do paint. So, for example, if you're going to be glazing this beautiful star, you would just simply use the yellow glaze and apply it with your paintbrush on the top. Now, as you apply it, it's going to start to dry. And as it dries, like on this snowman, I applied a layer of blue and it dried. Then I went back and applied a layer of purple, did a couple stripes, and it dried, and I can put a second layer on. So the key with light colors is putting more than one layer of glaze on. Now glaze, we've talked about utilizing it just like paint. And if we do use it just like paint, the important thing with glaze is some of the tools you will need as you're glazing will be your paintbrush, a container of water to rinse your paintbrush with, and a paper towel so you can dry your paintbrush off. And so when you're changing, if by chance you would be changing, 4th, 5th, and 6th graders get to change colors with glazing. They would need to rinse their paintbrush really well over here in the water. Rinse it. Make sure all the color's out by dabbing it and wiping it with a paper towel. Once you know all the color's gone, then you can go back to a different color, dip your paintbrush into that color, and begin painting again. So a couple things to remember. As you're changing colors, you're going to be cleaning your brush, making sure it's clear and clean so that you're not contaminating the beautiful color of glaze that we have in here. Glaze is expensive material, so that's another reason we want to be respectful of the money we're spending and be respectful of the beautiful art materials that we have to work with and keep our glazes clean, not contaminated with multiple colors because of an unclean brush. So let's think about glaze and what it is. I love this part. Glaze is actually silica. It comes from Earth. All products, everything we make here in our world comes from our Earth. But glaze is from the crust of our Earth. And it's silica sand. It's in the sand family. And the cool thing about the glaze is when it's heated, when you apply it, it's a chalky color look. And then after it's put in the kiln and heated to over 1,000 degrees, it becomes a very shiny, clean, professional look. It has a beautiful finish to it. So here's a nice snowman that someone glazed. It has been fired in the kiln. And you can see how beautiful those colors came out. So this is a beautiful dark blue, yellow, some greens. The cool thing about this is the vibrant colors. Unfortunately, the glazes got a little mixed with this snowman, and when that happens, the glazes melt together in the heat, and then they kind of puddle and pool. So be very careful as you're applying glaze. Enough, make sure you put enough on it, 2 layers for light colors. When it comes to a dark color, probably 1 good layer is enough. Now let's think about the shiny part, this white shiny part. Now you can definitely see a difference. We have a snowman that has unfired glaze. It's the raw glaze right here on the right. And on the left, we have a snowman that the glaze has been fired and finished. But take a look at the difference in the white. This is a very chalky, unfinished, and this one's very shiny right here. Well, the magic to that is another glaze. And this glaze is called a clear glaze. Does it actually look clear? No, it doesn't. But this is a translucent. On the bottle, it tells you that it is a clear glaze and that you brush it on, and it's translucent. Translucent means clear. So the cool thing is you put this on so you can see where you're applying it. You know that you're putting clear in different areas of your keepsake. But when it's in the kiln and it is fired, then that green will turn clear and have this beautiful shiny finish like in the white spots of this snowman right here. Pretty neat. So we've learned today, not only are we finishing and working on the design, finishing the design of our keepsake, we've learned about some of our earth, and that silica comes from earth. And it makes our keepsakes gorgeous, by the way. So just a reminder, when you're changing colors, you're also going to be cleaning your brush. And let's take a look at our brush real quick. When we're working with a brush, we need to know the parts of our tools. So I think we all probably remember that the hairs here are bristles. And this metal part here, this metal part is called a ferrule. And it keeps the bristles where they belong and gathered together, and it attaches it to the handle of our paintbrush. The important thing with glaze, when you're working with it as well as paint, and you have a nice paintbrush like this, the key is not to get any glaze or paint up on the handle. You really want to keep it down here in the ferrule area of your paintbrush. That means you know how to use a quality painting tool, and that you're being respectful of the tools that you have, which is a great thing. A couple things I want to share too. When it comes to glazing, I forgot to tell, I told you what you can do. You can use multiple colors in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd graders will be using one color. So the stars will be yellow probably, the pine trees green, and our snowflakes, even though we have a broken one here, but you can see that we started to put glaze on this, and it's a blue, so snowflakes will have a blue color. But when you're applying the glaze, please remember, do not put glaze on the sides, in the hole, or on the back. If you put glaze in those areas in the heat, it will drip down. Stick your keepsake to the shelf in the kiln, and the only way we're going to be able to get it off the shelf is to use a hammer to bust it up to get it off that shelf. So if you don't want a broken keepsake, remember, no glaze in the holes, the sides, or the back. If you get it there, no worries. You just use a piece of paper towel, moisten it with your water, and wipe it clean, and you're going to be just fine. So boys and girls, I think that's pretty much it. How to apply glaze on your keepsake. Patience is the key, and the most important thing is to remember, enjoy it as you work. So have fun while you're doing it. The last thing, when you are done glazing, the key is also to remember where to place it. So your teacher's going to tell you exactly where they want you to set it so that the glaze can dry before it goes to the kiln. So pay attention to those directions as well. Well, thanks so much for your attention. We're going to have fun glazing our keepsakes today. I hope you enjoy it as much as I've enjoyed sharing it with you.